guys, today we are working in our Eureka books on lesson 20, and that is on page 167. So the work is on page 167, and then hopefully you read in the instructions that the homework helper is on page 165. The homework helper is going to walk you through the word problem, estimating, finding the difference through estimating, and also finding the difference through actual, precisely measuring. So let's go ahead and walk through one of these problems together. So number one is one of your must-dos, and we're going to do part of this together. Again, we're on page 167, so pause the video and get there if you're not there yet. All right, first thing you need to do, put your name on it and today's date. So also put the date down. Let's take this a little bit closer. Whoop. There we go. Okay. Melissa and her mom go on a road trip. They drive 87 kilometers before lunch. They drive 59 kilometers after lunch. Estimate, so that's rounding, right? Another word for estimate is round. You know how to do that. We've practiced that a lot. How many more kilometers they drive before lunch than after lunch by rounding to the nearest 10 kilometers. Okay, so before lunch, they drove 87 kilometers. We're going to round to the nearest what? The nearest 10. So 87 rounded to the nearest 10. The 8 is in the tens place. The 7 is in the ones place. This is our bossy number right here, the 7. So is it 5 or more or 4 or less? It's 5 or more, right? 7 is more than 5. So we're going to raise the score. So this rounds to what? We have to add 1 to this 8. It rounds to 90. Remember, 87 is in between what two tens? Well, it starts with an 8, so we know it's in between 80, and what's one more 10 than that? 90. That halfway point is 85. Is 87 more than 85? It is, so it rounds up to 90. Two different ways of looking at that. After lunch, they drive 59 kilometers. So now we have to round 59. What two tens is 59 in between? Well, the 5 is in the tens place, so we know it's 50 and 60. What's the halfway point between 50 and 60? 55. Is 59 more than 55? It is, so it rounds up to 60. Okay, so we've rounded it, we've estimated. Now we have to find out how many more kilometers they drove before lunch than after. So now we can take 90 minus 60. What does that equal? Well, 9 minus 6 is 3. Add the 0 back on. You also could have stacked it. 0 minus 0 is still 0. 9 minus 6 is 3. 30 kilometers is our answer. Give that a circle or an underline so I know where your answer is, please. Precisely. Now this word right here means actual. So precisely, find the actual number of how much farther do they drive before lunch than after lunch. So what were our actual numbers? Before lunch, 87 kilometers. After lunch, 59 kilometers. Which number is bigger? 87. So how do we find the difference? We subtract. 87 minus 59. Stack them up. 7 minus 9. Do not tell me that is 2. 9 minus 7 is 2, but this problem is 7 minus 9. There is more on the floor. Your line right here is the floor. 9 is larger. 7 minus 9. Can we do it? No. What do we have to do? Go next door to the 8. Borrow it. We're going to cross it out. If we take 1 10 away, this is no longer 8. It is 7. We have to add the 10 over here. This turns into 17 because we added the 10 over here. All right, 17 minus 9. We can do that. What is that? 8. And 7 minus 5 is 2. And what is our label? Kilometers. Compare your estimate from part A to your answer in part B. Is your answer reasonable? Does it make sense? Is that answer reasonable to you? Write a sentence to explain your thinking. Is 28 close to 30? Yeah, it's only 2 numbers apart, so that would be a reasonable answer. So, yes, because 28 is only 2 away from 30. Also, does 28 round up to 30? Yeah, it does. You could write that too. Here's an example of rounding and estimating, actually doing the math precisely, and then explaining your thinking on if your answer is reasonable. Let's look at number 2. Amy measures ribbon. She measures a total of 393 centimeters of ribbon and cuts it into 2 pieces. The first piece is 184 centimeters long. How long is the second piece of ribbon? All right, you are given a large number and a small number, but you don't know the second small number. Do you need to do addition or subtraction? Subtraction, right? You can't do addition because you don't know the second small number. So you have to take the big number and subtract the small number. Estimate the length of the second piece of ribbon by rounding in 2 different ways. Okay, they want you to round in 2 different ways. So first, you're going to round to the nearest 10. Then you're going to round to the nearest 100. So 393 centimeters rounded to the nearest 10. 393 centimeters rounded to the nearest 100. Your second number, subtract, right? 183 or 184 centimeters rounded to the nearest 10. 184 centimeters rounded to the nearest 100. So you're going to round both of these to the nearest 10 and find the answer. Round both of these to the nearest 10 and find the answer. Then you're going to come down here and do the actual math. Precisely how long is the second piece of ribbon? Explain why which one of these estimates is closer. So you're going to do the actual math. Take the actual big number and subtract the smaller number. All right. Remember to pause your video as you need. I'm going to go ahead and read problem 3 and 4 to you. The weight of a chicken leg, steak, and ham are shown to the right. The chicken and the steak together weigh 341 grams. How much does the ham weigh? Estimate the weight of the ham by rounding. So here's the total. Here's what the chicken and steak weigh together. You have to find how much the ham weighs, so the other smaller number. Estimate first, so this is where you round. Actual. Do the actual math. Problem number 4. Remember to pause your video. Katie uses 506 liters of water each week to water plants. She uses 252 liters to water the plants in the greenhouse. How much water does she use for the other plants? So 506 liters each week, 252 liters just for the greenhouse. Big number, small number. You're looking for that other small number. Subtraction again, right? The bigger number always comes first and subtraction on top. Estimate by rounding. Estimate how much water Kate uses for the other plants by rounding a different way. So maybe you round to the nearest tens here and then solve. And here you round to the nearest 100 and then solve. Part C. How much water does Kate actually use for the other plants? Estimate which one was closer. So which one of these was closer? Explain why. You're going to have to write a sentence as well. Okay. Group A. I hope you're still listening. You get a chance to do this in class with me first, but Group B, you don't. So any questions you have, just please bring them to me on your next day of class, and we'll go over them together. We will also have this lesson, so that should clear up any of your misunderstandings.